Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons and whether the game should be a guardian of print. Okay, so here's a couple questions. So does Dungeons and Dragons own a burden of keeping print relevant? Does it need to be? Does it really owe its originating culture the burden of being a guardian of print, of the medium of print? And if the answer is yes, what actions then follow? Okay, so here's my very short answer. I think the answer is absolutely yes. Right now, why? Why does Dungeons and Dragons own a burden of being a guardian of print? Okay, well, here's the reason why. It has a community made up of highly intelligent dungeon masters and highly intelligent players. And really, the other thing is, there is no Dungeons and Dragons community without literacy. And so if your player base and if your dungeon master base stands on literacy, I believe that puts that burden onto the game of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, its own history, right? Gygax created Dungeons and Dragons specifically to be within the print medium. He created it within the print medium, right? That was its home medium. That was its generating medium. That was its source medium, right? Also to honor Gygax. I think Gygax was clearly an author, a reader, part of the literati. Like he was a man of literature. And so to honor Gygax, I believe the game Dungeons and Dragons should own the burden of being a guardian of print. Okay? Because here's another reason why. It being an Americana element. It is an element of Americana. And in America, print is incredibly invaluable to us. We stake a huge amount of relevance on our Constitution, a print document, okay? And I believe there is almost no stronger element of Americana than Dungeons and Dragons. It's exactly like baseball. It's like comic books. It's like jazz. It is Americana, and Americana is a nation built on literacy, right? It's been in our history and has been an integral part of our history since the very beginning, and now Dungeons & Dragons continues to carry Americana forward. Dungeons & Dragons is in many ways a container of Americana, right? Also because of its global reach, right? So because Dungeons & Dragons does have a global reach now, right? And there are poor, young adults all over the world. I believe, print is a precious medium, and I don't think it should just be for America. It should go even beyond that. So because the game has a global reach, I think that, again, ties it closer to that burden of being a guardian of print, okay? Last, so comic books are also an element of Americana, okay? Comic books are very strongly holding the guardianship of print. It's one of the last things, comic books are going to be one of the last things that are ever printed, right? And the reason why is, one, in the comic industry, it has been 100% understood by the major players, DC and Marvel, that those books never go out of print because they are the goose that laid the golden egg, right? If you have a goose and it lays golden eggs, you don't slay it, right? You don't make fried chicken, right? And so that's the issue is comic books have already figured this out. You never get rid of the print medium. You can scale back the amount that you're printing to a very small amount, but you cannot get rid of print. And I think the comic book industry has fully understood this. And I think the TRPG industry is certainly the flagship of the tabletop role-playing game publishing industry must understand that it has a burden to continue to print that game forever for every version, right? It's just it's part of what it is, and it owes It owns the burden of being a guardian of print. So if then we take it for granted, well, actually, that is my supposition, that the game of Dungeons and Dragons owns a burden of being a guardian of print. And I want to be super clear. That is the game Dungeons and Dragons, right? Doesn't matter who owns it, right? TSR has owned it so far, and Wizards of the Coast has owned it so far. In my opinion, the ownership of that burden of being a guardian print belongs to Dungeons and Dragons, and anyone who takes Dungeons and Dragons up then takes that ownership of the burden of being a guardian of print. So what should they do? So one, they should create the hardcovers as stellar books, which they're doing right now, right? The hardcover should continue to be full color. Also, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition has done this hardcore. They do not do soft cover. It is hardcover only. When you do a print run, that sucker is beautiful hardcover, full color, pristine, beautiful, an exemplar of print, right? And I think they're doing exactly the right thing there. So you continue to do that. And I also think you keep a high price, right? Print is not cheap, and Dungeons and Dragons should not be cheap. And the reason why is it is worth, I think every PHP is worth 10 times its value. If I paid $500 for a hardcover, I would owe WotC for the entertainment I've gotten out of it, right? They're massively, even at $50 a pop, they're massively undervalued, or the price is too low, okay? So keep the price high. I'm totally cool with that because they're underpriced right now. Here's a big one. Deny PDF. Do not do PDF as core canon work. PDF is precious. Hardcover is precious. Print is precious. When you are making the DMG, the PHB, the MM, the canon books, the books that matter, the books that are critical to the game, they must remain in hardcover. And do not bother with PDF. Everybody else in the industry can do PDF, and the reason why is they're not the flagship, right? I think Wizards of the Coast has proven, it helps to make money. That's super clear now. It is super clear, right? And then I do think they should fix the art in Dungeons & Dragons currently. I think the art that is in Dungeons & Dragons is very good. But here's the thing. I currently think the art overall at the macro level, not individual pieces. Some individual pieces should be in the Philadelphia Art Museum. I mean, they're amazing. Some of them aren't. I think overall at the macro level, the art is cluttered and wandering. And the reason why is not because somebody's not dedicated to it, but because Dungeons & Dragons is what it is. There's so many goals for the art. Some of the goals are, so what I'm saying is, because there are so many goals for the art of Dungeons & Dragons, I think two goals that have been forgotten are cohesiveness and impact of each piece. So the art is covering so many goals and accomplishing so many goals that I think cohesiveness and overall impact have been forgotten, and I think that should be fixed going forward. So in my opinion, Dungeons & Dragons should absolutely own the burden of being a guardian of print. Thank you very much for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing.